everybody. We got a pre-recorded Shot from the Point Dead with none other than Honor the Call. I've actually been looking to do this interview for a while. Finally, we're able to get it up. Honor, you got to be in the news once a week, it seems, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I try to stay away from it as much as I can.
Oh,
but,
come on.
No, honestly, that's not the whole. I mean, that's definitely not my goal. I mean, I don't make videos to be in the news. Mm-hmm. If my videos are if they are good enough that mm-hmm. someone thinks that they should be in news, then definitely. But having said that, I will also say that now I have. Now I can reach or approach some of the news channels. I definitely, send them my videos telling them that, you know what, this is the story that I've been working on and it's on my channel. So if you want to take it to your audience, then by all means, because I believe that the farther it will reach, the better impact it will have.
Of course.
That's definitely the goal.
Here's the thing. I don't want to get into instead of getting into your background, I'm going to get now that you set this up, we're going to get into your what you're doing on YouTube.
Sure.
Because you do have a lot of credibility, especially with the news channels. I first heard of you when it came to CS:GO gambling. Do you consider what you're doing are you a journalist?
No, I'm far from a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I have a completely different background from what I do on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So my day job is of a software engineer. That's what I do. That's what I am by trade.
I'm sorry. Say that again. What do you do for a living?
I'm a software engineer.
What is that?
I write software. I write code.
Oh, you're a software engineer. Excuse me.
Yeah, I write boring code so that things can work for companies. That's what it is, actually. It's a lot of work, a lot of painstaking, sometimes finding a needle in a haystack kind of work. But that's what I do for a living.
And this is what you do for a hobby. And going back, I got to be honest with you. If you're making videos hoping they get in the news or hoping they mm-hmm. get popular, I'm one of the, I think one of the few YouTubers that is very open with the fact that I do things to get views. I do things to entertain. I hope they get views, and I hope I get paid for my work to trying to entertain people. You're doing something a little different. While I wouldn't say your stuff is very entertaining, but
right. See, I agree with you, Tommy, 100%. That everyone on YouTube has a purpose, right? I mean, mm-hmm. At the end of the day, if you're putting time and effort into something, and if you get paid for that, I mean, that's a win-win for you, right? I mean, there's no harm in getting paid for doing some work, right?
Sure. And I don't think there's anything wrong with you getting paid for your work either. I think it would be very hypocritical of me and probably a lot of your critics that do criticize you, like, oh, you're just doing this for views. Well, that's the game, boy.
Right, but see that's an answer for someone who has nothing better to say. That's how I look at it. I mean, if you have nothing better to come up with, you know what? I'm gonna say what my favorite YouTuber says, and he says that Honor do it for views, so I'm gonna say Honor do it for views.
Oh, okay.
I'm blind and I have no capability and I have no skill to find out it by myself why someone does something. So I'm just gonna blindly follow someone else.
Yeah,
so
I think that's true.
Yeah,
I gotta get into your journalism to begin with, because whether you are a journalist or you're not, you're doing journalism, and I think you're doing spectacular journalism. There is an element of entertainment to it. You also do that very well, but I do think it's journalism. But the one thing that really stuck out to me, and it's just about what we're talking about with your Keemstar interview, you answered the criticism that you're only doing this views, and of course you stated that this isn't your only job, that you're doing this for a hobby, and I got to be honest with you, if I had to give you some criticism, I would suggest not even answering that whatsoever, because it's what they call a red herring fallacy. You're doing it for views. Well, that has nothing. Here's the thing: if you were a brutal money whore, okay, if you were just doing this, it doesn't matter. Is Honor the Call telling the truth, or is he not telling truth? Is what he's saying about tmartn prosyndicate correct, or is it incorrect? Is what he's done with FaZe Clan correct or incorrect? Nobody that I'm aware of, and I don't know if you've had to retract anything yet, as far as any of the stuff you've done. Maybe you've made mistakes. Everybody does. Nobody has ever said to you that you got something wrong that I'm aware of. Therefore, I would dismiss any time somebody says you're doing it for views. That's a red herring. Move on. I don't address red herrings. And that's exactly what it is. It's just
and that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to avoid all these comments because one thing I've learned over the last few months is that you cannot win. You cannot win on the internet. You cannot win an argument with someone on Twitter, because everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and people will just say it. So yeah, you're right. I mean, I've been trying to avoid it as much as I can.
Yeah, I would say though, you're doing it for hits. I'm sorry, I don't do red herring fallacies. Period. Out the door. You don't have to justify yourself. You only have to justify your work. Is this happening? Is this not happening? And that's it. And I notice that a lot of these guys, they say you're doing this for views, you're doing this for talk. It's because it's irrelevant. If you are doing this for all the wrong reasons in the world, okay, and which is, by the way, a very subjective, moral. It's a moral judgment whether you're whatever reasons you're doing. It doesn't matter as long as you're getting it right. Okay, flipping a little bit. I first heard about you through the CS:GO gambling. Right about the time that I started Baited, and I wasn't, and it was you and H3H3 that I think were covering the CS:GO gambling thing, and I initially had sort of a, being in the United States, having poker basically taken away from us, my initial reaction was, these guys are just a bunch of do-gooders getting in everybody's business. But as I learned more, and a lot of it, because that was actually our first episode of Baited, that these guys were not only aiming this at children, that they were lying about their affiliations with the companies they were playing with. It's not that they were just sponsored by them. They were actually owners of the company. That would be a tmartn and prosyndicate. Is that about that time, I'm saying around June, is that when you really broke as sort of a journalistic force on YouTube?
Yes and no. So if you go through my channel history, which I will highly advise for anyone looking into my past history on YouTube, you would see a lot of COD news videos. So I mean, I play Call of Duty religiously. I play so much COD that if you put 10 famous COD YouTubers on one side and combine their playtime, I bet you my playtime is more than all of them combined.
So you are hardcore. Okay.
Dude, I am Master Prestige level 350 or something like that. I have freaking, what is it called? The Dark Matter camo, to get that camo, you have to play with every single gun. So I mean, I'm a hardcore gamer. That's what I do.
Okay.
And one of the first, so I started just doing COD news videos, whatever news I can find on Call of Duty, I would make a video, short video, 2-3 minutes, and I would put it up. Until I started feeling that there is no more COD news. I mean, Call of Duty has this tendency where in a year, sometimes there is no news. So their news have dried up. Okay. And that's when I noticed a lot of Call of Duty YouTubers fighting with each other. So, they're just having a go with it at each other, and they're creating drama. And I noticed that Keemstar, which is, of course, one of the biggest drama channels on YouTube, is not covering that. So Keemstar is focused on all these bigger, the bigger YouTubers and all the other drama that's happening, but no one is really paying attention to the Call of Duty drama. So I started, diversifying my videos and started including Call of Duty drama videos on my channel. So, and that's when I started looking into things. So I started looking into, for me, researching something on the internet, it goes way past than my YouTube channel. I mean, a few years ago, I was finding my great grandfather on the internet. He was a policeman in Shanghai, China.
Really, that's incredible.
Yeah. He under the British India rule, they took a lot of Indian. A lot of Indians from North India specifically.
You don't just Google something. You go to the next level. You're like a private detective. So this is
I try to think of the sources. So I was able to look into the British National Archive online data that they had, and I found a couple of names. So my great grandfather's name happened to be a very common name. So I did have some hits on him, but I'm not really sure it's him. So I think the next step for me is to actually, whenever I will ever get a chance to go to UK, I will actually personally visit those archives and see if I can find him.
So the preface is this is what you do and this is one of the reasons you haven't gotten nailed yet. You really do your homework. That's what you're trying to get across here, right?
Yeah. So see, I think Whenever I have to try to pitch someone to whenever I have to try to sell an idea to someone, I have to have a lot of proof, a lot of proof to claim to back up my claims, right? Otherwise, I feel that my defense is weak. Someone's gonna find out that I'm not telling the truth, and they're gonna call me out on that. So
Sure.
when I have a lot of proof, and that's what I strive for whenever I'm researching into something, I try to gather as much proof as I can, so that when I'm saying something, I'm showing them a proof, so that's like a slap on their face, and they have nothing back, nothing in return to say to me. So I think that's just how I'm wired. I mean, I think ever since I figured out what life is, and I think that's how I'm wired.
Were you a good student in school?
Well, when I was in India, definitely I was a good student. I was definitely getting B plus or even A's. And when I moved to Canada for studies, there was a lot of hard work for me. I mean, I had to work 2 part-time jobs and then also go to college full time. So there came a time in my life, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do good enough so that I can pass the course. I don't want to fail the course because I don't want to pay the tuition fee twice. So I'm just gonna work hard enough. Yeah. So I think I was an okay student.
Mm-hmm. So you don't consider it. So you moved to Canada after you were already an adult when you came to Canada. You didn't grow up inside of Canada.
No, so I was born and brought up in North India specifically, and I was in my late teens when I moved here for college.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to get back to your background in a minute because I do have some questions. Okay. Have you made a mistake? Have you had to retract anything? In your
yeah, definitely. In a couple of my videos, I said something about even. A funny thing is that this was on tmartn, and it turns out that it was false. So in the next video, I was there to clear myself. I said, hey, I said this about tmartn, and it happens to be not right. So I'm going to retract my statement, and that is not right. I even made a mistake on reporting something on RiceGum that I had to retract in the next video. It was I actually ended up deleting that video, and I made a new video the same day saying that I had to remove my video because whatever I was saying is not right, and this is this is what the evidence says. So it was against me. So I had to retract my statement.
Did any of those 2 guys reach out to you and thank you for that? I can't imagine tmartn. But what about
that's not how YouTube works. I hope you know that, right? Bigger for the bigger YouTubers, the smaller ones don't even exist. You're like,
bitch,
who
retract.
cares? I was thinking before the interview. I was like, what's a good analogy of YouTube? I think YouTube is like a solar system. So think of solar system and think of YouTube as Venus. So if YouTube is Venus, and what's happening past Earth or in Mars or in Jupiter, no one knows. So that's how true. YouTube works.
That's true. That's true. We're talking about FouseyTube on my live stream and how that's kind of its own universe. And we in the commentary community like to think that we are YouTube, but there's a whole different world out there that doesn't know about us.
YouTube is the second biggest search engine on the internet, and I think the third most visited site. So it's huge.
That is amazing. All right. Yeah. So what was your first? Now I thought it was CS:GO gambling, and I wanted to say before that I got a little aggravated with you initially, but now I think you're doing great work because I got to be honest with you, I don't want necessarily these sites to be taken down simply because I'm a grown up. I'm over the age of 21 in where I live now in Germany, and I think in Canada too. You can gamble. You can make those decisions for yourself, and I want to be able to make these decisions for myself without the government getting involved. Now, as I learn more and as the game, and I don't think Steam bears a lot of responsibility for a lot of this stuff. And as I learned about tmartn and prosyndicate, okay, something has to be done, and I would agree with you. Do you necessarily have a problem with gambling in general, or is it just the way
I don't. I have been to a casino. I have gambled myself, but like you said, when you're an adult, you can tell the wrong from the right.
Sure.
But what these guys were doing they were pretty much catering gambling to minors, and so that's what ticked me off in the first place when I found out about what tmartn was up to, and I decided to make those videos. I'm definitely not against gambling. If you're over the age of 19 or 21 in the U.S. and you want to go gamble, you know what? By all means, I'm not stopping you.
Sure.
I'm not policing the internet. I'm not policing the YouTube.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, what they were doing was just definitely shady.
Well, see, I wonder if they'll pull it out in the United States because I've heard, although I'm no lawyer, I've heard that the fact that money was not being exchanged, that might in the end get them off. But look, like I said, I heard a big right there. So I wonder if that, because also it also sends a slippery slope for a lot of other things that are not considered gambling because money is not actually exchanged. When cash is exchanged, what makes it gambling in the United States. Now, I think the thing with tmartn and prosyndicate was the fact that they were lying about ownership. I don't know if that's more important than even these sites being up in the first place. That is the serious offense there. Am I correct?
So this whole industry is illegal to begin with.
Really?
So there's a lot of gray area.
How so? How so? There might be gray. That's what I'm saying. Like you say, this entire industry is illegal.
You know how the big corporations, they would set up an offshore office and they would avoid taxes, and they will hire lawyers and they will find that little loophole that can save them millions and That's exactly how these guys are working. So tmartn basically paid a whole bunch of money to his lawyers in Florida, and they found those loopholes based on which they were able to set up those companies.
Okay.
And they were able to do what they were able to do. So and I mean, Steam is there. So Steam has given all the access that these guys need in order to run these gambling operations, and that's what they were able to do. And I think also, given the history of YouTube, there hasn't been any repercussions. I mean, think about a YouTuber who has done something wrong and he was punished in a way that he was never ever seen back on YouTube, right?
No, probably not. I mean,
YouTube has a history of, I sometimes I feel that YouTube is becoming a breeding ground for scams and frauds. It used to be phone calls. It used to be, those cold calls that, I'm calling to report you that your grandson or granddaughter is in an accident, and you need to wire me some money so that we can save his life, right? All those phone calls. But I think YouTube has become a breeding ground for scams. So
I would agree
and
with you.
YouTubers know this. They know that whatever they will do, there won't be any repercussions. Sure, they will lose subscribers for a week or so, but then there will be more people joining YouTube, and they've probably never heard of what happened to them in the past, and they will click on that subscribe and they will keep watching their videos.
Well,
and
that's
YouTube
why
won't do anything.
That's why I think the work you're doing is so important, because I think you're absolutely right. I think it's increasing the amount of scams that are coming out because there is no punishment by the law. But I mean, simply hiring lawyers to get around tax loopholes, getting around a tax loophole itself is not illegal. Illegal gambling is illegal. Do you believe? Have you have any indication that they may not actually be convicted of or even stand in this class action lawsuit? Because I really do wonder. I think their issue is more with the FTC than it would be with actually illegal gambling. Have you talked to any lawyers? Do you have any insight on that?
Right. So I've been in touch with the law firm that have these two class action lawsuits on tmartn and prosyndicate. I've been in touch with them ever since I broke this story months ago. So I think from what I can tell, and I mean, don't quote me on this. Okay. I'm not the lawyer. I'm not an expert in the U.S. law by any means. Okay. I think if the judge will decide it against tmartn, they will have to pay heavy fines. They will have to pay for all the losses that all the visitors have and anyone who lost money on CS:GO Lotto or any other CS:GO gambling site, those site owners will basically have to pay some kind of fine to all the people who lost the money. When it comes to actual punishment, I don't think that would happen unless or until FTC steps in and says that, you know what, these guys were clearly promoting their own product without disclosing it, and that is against the policies of guidelines of FTC. So unless or until FTC steps in. But you know what? I was contacted by many viewers who actually went a step further, and they reported these guys to FTC as well. So they sent written complaints saying that these guys were promoting their own site without disclosing the ownership. So FTC already have complaints against these guys. So I'm not sure if they will take any action or not.
Oh, really? So I figured the FTC would have them dead to rights. I'm wondering, do you think, I'm going to ask you this flat out. Right. Do you believe that these guys will be convicted in this class action lawsuit? Will the judge rule in the defendant's favor? Because I'm really wondering about that. Just a guess, yes or no. It's just a guess. I'm not saying.
I want to say yes. I want to say
Okay.
yes, that they will definitely lose the class action lawsuit and they will have to pay the fines. I definitely want to say yes to that.
Okay,
yes.
on the FTC, do you feel? Because I figured I would say definitely a yes on the FTC. You don't seem to feel as strong that they have the FTC will even look into it.
I mean, I want to say yes to that, but the reason I was kind of hesitant is because I haven't heard any update on that so far. So I don't know what's going on over there. But I mean, FTC was I mean, they were brave enough to point out Warner Brothers and some other bigger YouTubers on one of the game that they promoted, and they never disclosed that they were actually paid to promote the game. So they were brave enough to call on call out the bigger Hollywood studios. So I mean.
Okay.
tmartn and prosyndicate are nobody in front of them, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, I often wonder if because people look at YouTube and they're like, that's not real. Nobody's making money.
I think of tmartn or prosyndicate or anyone involved in CS:GO gambling in the past, or is involved, or is planning to get involved. I think of them as thieves who are standing outside elementary school and pickpocketing little kids.
Really?
That's what
if these companies flip over to an 18 and over, 21 and over, you have no issue with them though.
They can't. That's not going to happen.
Why is that?
There is no way that would work out.
Because they can't, because there's not enough people that are of age willing to gamble skins.
No, not even that. I mean, see, this whole gambling thing is being controlled by Steam, because at the end of the day, you need access to a Steam account in order to pull your skins into their system, and Steam is open to anyone, right?
Yeah.
So if Steam puts some kind of rule saying that yes, only 18-plus-year-olds can play our games, then I guess maybe there's a chance. But I mean, Steam doesn't want to lose any business, right? Because a lot of kids play too. A lot of minors play their games too.
This is where, like, I see this. Look, you need to do the work you do. So this is not necessarily a criticism of you. I think it's a criticism of I don't see any issue with people being able to go do that, and I'm so sick of things like the way the gambling, internet gambling or internet poker, which is something I really enjoy. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I'm so happy I live in Europe where I can still do that. I don't want to see. I don't necessarily people lose their jobs, because I don't think there's anything morally wrong with gambling. Now, if Steam puts the kibosh on that, that's it. Do you think guys like yourself and H3H3 ended this particular industry, which could have been marketed to adults? And if so, how do you feel about that, if you guys contributed to ending this industry?
Well, I think the way I look at things is that I was able to bring this whole situation to light. Before I made my first video, there was already a class action lawsuit against Steam by someone from US, right?
Gotcha.
And that did gather some press, but not as much as that person hoped. So my story, and then definitely H3H3 brought it to the world stage, and it definitely took the story to every corner of the world, and every blog and every newspaper started talking about it, and it did make a difference. But I think what I hoped was that this would put an end to everything, but that hasn't been the case. Every single day I see new sites popping up left and right because they're so easy to set up. That's the whole problem.
But if they're marketing towards adults, you don't have a problem with it, correct?
I don't. But that's the thing, right? They're not marketing towards adults,
so
because that's not how it works.
So when these new ones pop up, they're marketing to kids, is what you're saying.
They're pretty much open to anyone who's willing to gamble.
Gotcha. So that is let's flip on. You got a little bit of a fight with FaZe Clan last month. So FaZe Clan is becoming something I'm very interested in. A video game. They took money, mostly probably from kids, because FaZe Clan.
Right.
I mean, I guess they made a beta for it or something like that. The beta got canceled. And you correct me if I got anything that's wrong, of course. And it just kind of died. 4 or 5 years went by. The game wasn't made, and some folks came to you. Is that correct?
Yes. So someone reached out to me saying that this happened last year, and I was like, "Wow! I mean, I don't even know about this." And I then looked it up online on YouTube, and no one really made a video. No one really talked about this, or even the FaZe members never ever tweeted about this game in over a year. So I'm like, you know what? It's time to make a video on this and bring this to light, and hopefully hopefully we can make a difference. And that's what, and I'm glad that I was able to make the video, present them the evidence, and then it went pretty much everywhere on YouTube, and they had to make a response video and offer the refund. So that definitely made me feel good about making the decision to make the video.
The response videos were awful. They didn't take any responsibility for anything for the most part. I'm clumping them all together. Nobody took any responsibility in any of these videos. It was really quite amazing. I mean, FaZe is a reasonably big company. This is something they could have said, oversight, everybody's getting their money back, and it would have been 1, 2, 3. But the reaction was to make a bunch of excuses. And then at one point, now you did rub it in a little bit when they returned the money. You did give a twisted screw, but they wrote you back. This is a corporation. This isn't Shot from the Point. This isn't Debated Podcast. They wrote you back when you busted their nuts. Now, wasn't that easy? They told you to suck their dicks.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by that?
I did tweet at FaZe Rain. I said, look at how a responsible, mature adult owner of a esports organization is responding to my tweets. I did say that. I did try to rub it in, like you said. And even, a few days ago, Blaziken, whatever his name is, he was trying to make fun of my accent. And I said, then I called him out on his past. And I don't do, this is childish. This is like, you meet me in the parking lot kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't do this.
I do that.
I'm a grown up.
That's my thing, though. Hey, don't make fun of guys like me, Honor. That's my thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, if you will stoop down to personal levels, if you will start attacking me personally, then I'm not going to sit around and not do anything.
Sure.
But yeah, I try to keep my videos professional. If I'm calling out someone, if I'm saying that someone did something, someone fraud, someone scammed someone or whatever they did, I try to keep it very professional. I try to keep it to their YouTube profession. Don't take, I don't try to be, try to make it a personal video. I don't try to take on the personal.
But in fairness, Honor, you're a little, I think that's the entertainment part. You're slightly snarky in your videos. Your videos are entertaining on top of informative.
I want to make them entertaining. I don't want to make a boring video. I don't want people to be like, oh, this guy is, just very boring. I know I have a very dry sense of humor, but that doesn't really stop me from cracking a joke here and there, or taking shots so yeah, I definitely try to make my videos entertaining so that people can watch and get the message out of the video.
I think it's much more effective when you do that. The only thing is you might sacrifice some journalism thing. But I'm getting back to what I was saying before. I couldn't believe this esports team. And it's one thing if it happens in the Debated Podcast or this particular show or anything, and we do a lot of that type of humor. But for a company who just got caught in potentially a scam, something they could have been taken to court for, and they respond to you to suck my dick, wouldn't the smarter thing to do just to ignore you completely? Are you shocked by that? And I've had some of my sources tell me that FaZe used to be run by adults at some point, but at some point the adults were sort of chased away. And now the kids run it. Quite literally, the children run it. Are you?
I have no idea.
You don't know anything about that?
If you read their bios, everyone claims to be a director or an owner of FaZe. So I have no idea who's running the show.
Yeah, but
who's
I was
calling
told there was
shots.
a different group of people that ran it. It was very general. It was very general. It was just the same. And then now these kids have control of this thing. And one of the reasons, maybe it's something you want to look into to see if I'm right or not, because I don't know if I'm right or not. This ship is sinking. And if you're making responses like that, you gotta know. Who's the the directors are apparently all of them. Who's the accountant? That's what I want to know. I really wonder. Well, I
definitely want to sit down with the accountant. Trust me more than anyone.
I'm sure.
More than anyone in FaZe. FaZe Rain publicly offered me to meet up in Toronto. We were both from Toronto. He said, let's meet up. Let's clear the air. And I'm like, dude, I have nothing to talk about. Like, what are we going to talk about? I don't plan on meeting you. If this was a year ago when I was a FaZe fan as well, I used to be subscribed to FaZe Rain, and I used to be proud of the fact that someone from Toronto is representing us at a world stage.
Sure.
But now I'm like, no, I don't want to meet you. But yeah, talking about sinking ship, FaZe was a Call of Duty clan, a group, and they would produce Call of Duty videos But now they're just all they do is vlogs and clickbait videos. I can't believe he did this. I
Yeah.
stabbed my
Don't
my
open this
roommate.
video or something like that. That was the one I saw today.
And then every single one of them gets kicked from FaZe, quote unquote, every other month. Or he got kicked from FaZe, and I think I was actually thinking of making a video on helping FaZe to come up with future video titles. Honestly. Because they're running out of titles. What they do is anyone can go through their history. They do title recycling, and they're becoming a green clan. They're very environment friendly these days. They use each other's titles, so they would go back in each other's videos and they would pick someone's title. Clan. No, it's true. If you compare 4 FaZe members and you look at their past history, I kid you not, you can find titles that one person has used 2 months ago or 3 months ago. So they recycle the title.
Wow.
So I think that's definitely one good thing they should be proud of. They're becoming more environmental friendly.
Hey, real quick, it was really good. Real quick, I'm learning about esports. Was at one time these guys? I mean, they making Call of Duty's videos and I guess doing trick shots and stuff like that. But were these guys a competitive team at one point? Did they go up against other clans and compete for like in an MLG event or an ESL event or anything like that? Or are these
history entirely, but they do compete. I mean, today, yes, at this level, they are competing. They have a Call of Duty pro team. They have a CS:GO pro team. They have an Overwatch pro team. They have more than, I think, 2 or 3 pro teams right now. So they definitely compete at the highest levels of esports.
Are they any good?
Well, the only esports scene that I follow a little bit is the Call of Duty scene, and they lost last year. So.
Okay.
And yeah.
Were they in the finals, or are they getting kicked out in the first round?
I don't think they were in the finals. Even the Optic Gaming, their biggest competitor, or one of the largest esports organizations, even they were not in the finals. So yeah, I think the favorites were not in the finals.
So they're really more gaming entertainers at this point than I mean, is FaZe Rain on one of these teams? I mean,
no. So all these Call of Duty groups, they have 2 parts. So they have two. They're divided into two subcategories. So they have the pro players who actually represent them at the pro scene. They actually play on these tournaments, and then they have these other entertainers whose job is to basically make videos day in, day out, every single day, and keep the fan base entertained and just gather more and more fans for the group.
Okay,
so that's where FaZe Rain is. So that's what FaZe Rain is part of that.
So they are still pro gamers, but they are a big part of their income is gaming entertainment. So they do the YouTube videos and stuff like that.
Let's not go into what the big part of income is. You don't want me to get started on.
Oh, I know, I do. It depends on how I was going to start winding down. But what is the big part of their income in your?
No one's gonna like this.
I want to hear it.
Someone has to say.
Sure.
So it's my belief, and I definitely believe in it because I have seen some evidence that no one else has seen, and I don't have access to this evidence anymore, unfortunately.
Okay.
But majority of their income came from CS:GO gambling. They were part of
I believe that. Oh God, I believe that. I mean, gambling just makes money. I don't even think that's in question.
I mean, they were part of the CS:GO Wild initiative.
Okay.
They were the legal owners or whatever you want to call them.
Sure.
I mean, they made someone else owners. So it's a long, twisted story.
But you don't
I
have
think
any.
Majority of their income came from there, and. Now, I mean, they have, each one of them have millions of subscribers, and there are different avenues that they can depend on to generate income. But I think they definitely made more money from CS:GO gambling than they made money from anything else in their entire history of FaZe.
Oh, I'm sure that I'm without a doubt that it comes. I mean, gambling. God, I mean, you can't lose when you own it. When you own the house, the house makes money. So that wouldn't shock me at all. But you don't have any direct evidence that FaZe.
Whatever evidence I had, I made 6 or 7 parts videos in which some of the FaZe members, FaZe Banks, who was, I don't know, one of the owners, I guess, and FaZe Rain, FaZe Banks. I have a couple of Skype logs and Twitter DMs where FaZe Banks admit to say he's basically saying that yes, I own the site. He has never responded to that ever. because he don't want to, because he doesn't have to, I guess.
That would be FaZe Banks, correct?
FaZe Banks, yes.
He followed me. He just followed me on Twitter.
He followed you on Twitter?
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah,
he's a big Beta
So
fan.
see, it goes to show you have to. I mean, why? So FaZe Banks is not even active on YouTube because he doesn't need to. He already made the money he needs to make.
Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. He's getting back into it. He says he has a new like.
He's gonna pick up camera and start recycling. His.
I don't
other
know. I
face.
talked to him. No, he says he's really gonna get back into it, and he's been separated from the rest of the group, from what I understand. Banks.
I think people have moved on. There are better commentators out there. If you really care about Call of Duty news or Call of Duty in general, there's so many good YouTubers out there that can actually provide you that information.
Okay.
But if you want to just watch someone, hold a camera and pull out pranks and clickbait titles, then yeah, sure, by all means you can watch FaZe. I mean, don't even get me started on FaZe Banks.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a grudge against these guys? Because you used to be a FaZe fan, dude. What is it? Just does the gambling really bother you about it? Is it just the clickbait titles and stuff like that? I mean, do you hate these guys? Be honest.
No, I don't hate anyone. I don't even hate FaZe Rain, Banks, or Scam Martin or Crocodile, Mr. Crocodile Tears. I don't hate any of these guys.
Okay.
I think when I make a video, when I say something, it's my understanding that there are very few commentators out there who will actually do this. So, someone has to bring this out.
I'm not questioning your I asked you if
I don't
hate
hold
these
any
guys.
grudge. I don't.
You hate these. I gotta be honest with you. It sounds it. I'm not saying I'm not calling you a liar.
Sometimes definitely it gets me worked up and.
Well, they told you to suck their dick, so I wouldn't blame you if you felt that way. But I mean, it does sound like you may have a little bit of a grudge. But again, it doesn't matter if you have a grudge. It doesn't matter if you want hits. It matters if the evidence is correct. And so far, from what I've seen, you're on the money with this stuff. So, I don't think there's anything to apologize for. If you have a grudge against them, it doesn't matter. It just means you have a grudge against them.
I can go on record here on your show that I don't have grudge or hate anyone in the YouTube community.
Against
I
Scam
like
Martin. Against Scam, what was it? Scam Martin? What did you say?
I call T Martin Scam Martin, and Pro Syndicate is Mr. Crocodile Tears.
He's the one that brought the dog out when he did his apology video, right?
Dude, that's a meme on my channel. Every now and then I would have to crack the Cooper joke. He breathes in and he breathes out. He's like, Cooper, how are we going to do this?
My wife was saying to me the other day, it's like, we need to get a dog. So when you fuck up on YouTube, you can get that dog up there. I'm like, yeah, good point. Because I have an 8-month-old now, and I think I'll hold it and I'll pet the dog in the one hand. I'll have the 8-month-old in the other hand. Okay, we got done with FaZe. I've been told, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, that you've spawned criminal investigations. Is that correct?
I have what, sorry?
Have you spawned criminal investigations from your work? Yes or no?
Criminal investigations.
Yes.
Well, what kind of crime are we talking about here?
This is all I got. I don't know. I'm kind of asking you. Has your work? All right. Let me think. Has your work either spawned civil? Obviously, we have some civil or criminal investigations of the people that you're reporting about.
So there's only one investigation that I know of that's an ongoing one, and that's into T Martin and Pro Syndicate and the whole CS:GO Lotto thing that's going on with the lawsuit, and I'm pretty sure those lawyers are looking into more and more evidence that they can find against these guys. That's the only one I'm aware of. There are other YouTubers who have done shady stuff, like the Unbox Therapy episodes that I put up, showing what he has done. That's definitely illegal. Whatever Unbox Therapy and D-Brand they did, it's illegal when it comes to Canadian laws. It's illegal when it comes to U.S. laws, or when it comes to YouTube guidelines. But has anyone ever taken any action against them? No. That's the answer, and that's why these things keep on happening, because YouTubers know that nothing's going to happen. Everyone is going to talk about it for a few days and then just forget about it.
You're really passionate about this. This means a lot to you, and you are. I mean, I get that. I get that vibe that you should have been a cop. I mean, the law. No, but it does.
Tommy, I think I end up devoting way too much time to this. So maybe
Really?
that's why I get a bit more passionate.
I mean, you
because
get a little
it
more.
takes up a lot of time.
Sure, I imagine. But you're a passionate person. You want to see kids getting ripped off. You don't want to see you. Look,
See, you have to if you want to present yourself and you want to make a case, on a YouTuber, you have to be passionate about yourself,
Sure.
right? I mean, if
imagine.
so you are the starting point, and if you are not even passionate about what you're talking about
Yeah.
or backing up your claims, then no one will listen to you.
No,
No
you're
one will
absolutely
take you
want to.
seriously.
Okay.
So
Okay, now forget. I want to talk about honor. Forget all that other stuff. I think you've hit it over the head. You got everybody. I think. Who are you? So you said you move over from India to Canada when you're a teenager. I guess you spent a year in high school. So like, what's your background? Where did you come from? How did you get in the computer business? And how did you become a YouTuber? Let's start, I guess, at the beginning. Where do you come from?
So I was born and brought up in North India. I think that's as far as I would go.
Okay.
I
Don't
mean,
dox
hopefully
yourself. Yeah.
later on in my YouTube career, if I ever decide to make a draw yourself video, then I will definitely disclose more information. But yeah, I was born and brought up there. I went to school, college in India, and then I always wanted to go abroad for education. And Canada just happens to be a better option for me because I had some family here.
Okay.
And another friend of mine moved he moved about 6 months before I did. So I reached here, I went to school, I did my bachelor's here, and then I started working. I got into computers when I was in grade 6 or 7th, I guess. And that was only to play games. That was the whole point, so that I can play games on computers. And I guess I was always interested into computers, in computers. So I did my bachelor's in computer science and business, and that's how I started working in the same field, which I'm very proud of. I have spent so much time and so much money investing in my own professional career, and I'm very proud of what I have achieved so far. And I'm always trying to getting to the next big thing when it comes to computer science and ride the trend kind of thing. I started watching YouTube, I think back in 2002 or 3 when I used to play Prince of Persia. And I think I was stuck on a level and I wanted to pass that level. So I went on YouTube. I think that was my first ever exposure to YouTube. So fast forward, I bought my own PlayStation 3 and I started playing Call of Duty, and that's how when I came across, all these COD YouTubers, tmartn, Drifter, and some others, and I'm like, oh, you know what? This is nice. These guys play the game and they also make videos. So you know what? Maybe I can make a video too. Maybe I will have a YouTube channel too. So that's when I first thought about having a YouTube channel or started posting videos.
How old is your channel, by the way? I mean, since you started uploading.
It's a year old. I think my account. I made my account in September 2011.
Okay.
But I never really posted any videos. My first video was posted last year in 2015 in around July, I guess.
That's really amazing. So you've almost put 100,000 subs together, and so you're at 80 or 90,000 right now.
I am 77,000 right now. 77,000 and change.
You're probably going to be wow. So you've put together 77,000 subs in pretty much under a little over 12 months. Then is what you're saying.
Yeah, something like that. And honestly, when I started YouTube, I thought, okay, so I'm gonna set up a channel where I can produce videos talking about Call of Duty. I wanted to deliver the Call of Duty news. I wanted to become the Call of Duty news channel that people can trust and people can come back to every single day to watch the news, right? And then I got into this whole CSGO mess and everything else. And I knew from the get-go that this is... So, see, in YouTube, there is no barrier of entry. Anyone can buy a microphone and start making videos. So that's why there's so much competition, right?
Gotcha.
And I thought I'm going to keep it as a hobby, and I'm going to make videos to the best of my ability, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of twists and turns in my career, I guess. I followed my gut feeling quite a few times, and I think that's what led me to where I am right now.
Would you ever do it professionally?
Would I ever do it? No. That's
never.
Something. Even if I will have 1 million subscribers, I will still have my full-time job.
Because you love computer science that much.
Sorry?
You love what you're doing in computer science that much. You wouldn't. I mean, there's a little fame in this. This is kind of fun. I've got to be honest. I've been doing it professionally for about 4 months now. It's a blast. I got to tell you, it is
a blast.
Fun.
I mean, you interact with all these amazing viewers, who follow you on Twitter and in the comment section, and sometimes I talk to them. Not sometimes, always. You should see my comments. I try to reply to every single comment.
You do, really? I tried that for a month. But it is. I know what you're talking about. Like when I go through my DMs and I see I hate everything, and I see Honor the Call, and I see when I see FaZe Banks, it's a bug out, dude. It's almost surreal. So I know what you're talking about. I mean, this YouTube stuff is intoxicating.
It is intoxicating, but it can also backfire, and I don't trust it from what I've seen. I mean, I've seen channels go down in a day, right?
You're not a gambler, are you?
I'm not a gambler, and I will try not to do anything stupid because, hey, I call out people, right? Imagine when I do something stupid, they will hang me up on the wall. And
wait a minute, whoa. Isn't that the fun of it, though, to walk that line that you might get called out? That's what I do. Yeah, I dig that. I like the intense. So I like I gotta balance. I gotta check my, I gotta check my shit all the time. I gotta walk that line. That's what I find so that it could be taken away from me at every time. It's probably not my wife's favorite aspect of it. But I gotta be honest with you, it turns me on, dude. I love the fact that somebody could call me out, and the way I see it is like, you know what? If they do, I got an answer, and not only that, I'm gonna get them. That's what I love about YouTube. Be honest.
I like that aspect as well of proving someone wrong. But yeah, from what I've seen so far, I don't think I want to make YouTube as my full-time job or my full-time career. It's just that I don't think. I mean. I don't think I'm creative by any stretch of imagination. I'm anything but creative.
You think so? I like your video.
Yeah. So it's on the other day I was on the phone with the Keemstar doing the interview for Drama Alert, and this guy in a single take he wrapped up his show. He said all that slap alike and Drama Alert Nation and all that. He said that in one single take, and I was like, wow, dude, you gotta teach me that. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is some skill. And for me, I have to sit down a whole day and record myself. So.
Well, maybe. Oh, you know what? You guys, you and Colossal is Crazy should get together, and you could make the world's longest video. And wait a year to put it out.
I noticed I was watching some YouTube videos on how the Hollywood actors actually do their voiceover. So you should watch those videos on how. So there's I don't know, forgot the name of the movie, but Matt Damon and Brad Pitt, they were doing the voiceover of prawns in a movie, right? So when they were talking, they were actually moving their hands like prawns would move their legs in water, and that's how they were doing the voiceover. Mm-hmm. So I try to find all these clues that how I can improve my voiceover, and I would have my hands up in the air, and I would be like screaming and yelling in the microphone or laughing or trying to be as natural as I can.
Method acting.
I think for the foreseeable future, I will just keep it as a hobby. It's easier. It's easy on me. I can do it at my own pace.
Pussy, what's the matter with you? Why don't you want to risk your career on something you take it? Pussy.
I definitely take risks, but I like. I like that guaranteed income that I get every month, right?
Yeah,
I love that.
I got
you wake up in the morning or you open your laptop and you do some work and you get paid. Nothing beats that.
I'm just busting your chops. I can't imagine. Like, I'm not college material, if you know what I mean. I basically spent the better part of my life in the United States Army. So,
dude, that's okay. Hold on, let me stop you. And I definitely wanted to talk about your past. And you know what? I admire you for what you have done, because I strongly feel that soldiers or whoever serves their country, they are selfless people.
I don't know, dude. I got to be honest with you. All I did was chase German broads and go drink, and then they sent me to Iraq for 8 months, and I ended up going back early. So I really appreciate. I don't know how to take. I still to this day don't know how to take.
And you know what, Tommy? One of the first exposed videos that I did on my channel was it's titled "Call of Duty for Veterans: Selfish COD YouTubers Exposed." So that was my first
Oh, yeah?
video calling out bigger YouTubers 5 months ago,
Really?
for not helping the Call of Duty Veterans Initiative that was going on at that time. So,
well, I appreciate that. I'm glad that means a lot to you. If I'd have known that,
no, it
I wish
definitely
I'd have
does.
actually known that. But I don't know. I just I get very uncomfortable when people say that to me because I almost I had so much. There was downtimes. I had so much fun, and I miss it so much. We did lose people to suicide and stuff like that. But people was like, you're so. I had it pretty good, I'll be honest with you. But thank you, and I really appreciate you supporting veterans because that does mean a lot to me. But that's pretty much all I got for you. I think I asked you semi-tough questions. I did okay, I think.
Yeah, you can ask me a tough question. Let's do that. Let's do one of those.
I already did. I think I got you and everything. You're pretty good at
Okay.
defending yourself, and I got to be honest with you. I couldn't find anything that you didn't retract that was any kind of mistake. So I do think what you're doing is good, and I do think this is a breeding ground for scams, and I don't want kids to be taken advantage of. I don't want gamers to be taken advantage of, and this stuff needs to be pointed out, and I'm glad you're doing that kind of work. And if the best they can come up with is suck my dick, well, you're doing something right, dude. So thank you for your service. And by the way, and the service you're doing now, which by the way is volunteer work, I got paid, and I got to say this. I'm gonna really put you over in a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna get accused of being a dick sucker here. Okay, I am. You have the coolest frigging name on the net, and maybe it's because I'm a military guy. Always honor the call. It is so badass. Did you think of that yourself? That is HTC. I think you have the coolest online name.
Thank you.
I do.
I went through a couple of names. My channel was called I Am War God, because that's what.
I'm glad I am Wolgar.
Don't laugh. That's my gamer tag. Hey, that's my gamer tag. That's my gamer tag from like 7 years ago. War God, because I'm a huge God of War series fan. I played the game. So that was, and then I'm like, you know what? I am War God. It doesn't really sound good. I mean, So and then out of nowhere, I realized that there was a gamer tag that I saw a few days ago. A few years ago in Call of Duty, and this person's gamer tag was literally one word, and it was honor the call. Yeah. And I just loved it. I'm like, I'm so glad that I'm having this thought right now that I'm remembering all these things, and I just named my channel. I'm like, you know what? This is the best I can think of right now, and I'm just gonna stick to it.
Yeah, but I mean, you finish out and then you end your videos a little different. They look like a film, like a movie where the credits roll and stuff like that.
For me, making a video is a special thing for me. Mm-hmm. See, it doesn't happen every single day. I don't produce videos. I produce videos at my own pace. So whenever I sit down to make a video, for me, it's a special occasion. And I want to not just make a video for the sake of it. I want to enjoy it myself. So I would try to put all these little cheap stuff, outro credits and whatever I can think of, and just to make myself feel, special, or just to make myself feel that this is a special occasion, this is a special moment in my life, and I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can.
The problem is with that last statement, I caught you. I'm going to expose you right now, right? You know what? I caught you in a lie. I caught you in a lie. You are creative. That is creative. You are creative. That is creativity. So I caught you in a lie. That's not true.
So.
No, that is creativity.
I think in my personal life, I'm a very emotional person.
Really?
And that has a lot to do with the kind of topics that I cover and what I say, or the way I present my videos. I think that's how it is.
But that's where creativity comes from, emotion. I think you are a creative guy. I like your videos. I think you are entertaining, and I think you got a pretty good sense of humor. So
thanks, Tom. If you say all that, I will take it as you say. But
I think so. And I think we're gonna end it right here. Everybody, Shot from the Point Dead, a spectacular interview. I think we kind of got serious, and then we did a Tommy C interview at the end because that's what I like to. Because I like to get to know the people. I want to know who you are. So, and I think, we didn't get to talk about hockey though.
Leafs gonna win Stanley Cup this year.
That's why I didn't talk about hockey. I think because I found out you only lived. You've only lived in Canada for a few years, so that's why I guess it's a good thing we didn't talk about hockey. Come to think of it. Honor the call. Thank you so much. I still think that you have the coolest name on the website. And I'm going to finish this up with thank you for being a part of Shot from the Point Dead. And always, always honor the call.
Thanks, Tom.
All right. I'm about to make it hard to breathe. Here's a headlock.
Whatever your experiences are, the rough spots that you hit, if you didn't have a rough spot, write the good stuff. There's always a place for it. It's a time.